Hello everyone, welcome to Phase Dota Circuit Season 8 Upper Bracket Playoffs versus Arpals One is Legend versus Chappy Diaper Squad. TZ's team versus Aro's team. And the game's about to get kicked off here, but while that's loading in, just want to show the standings real quick. TZ's team did the best in this season with 14-2 record. And Aro's team was fourth in their division, 7-9, so sub 50%, but still a strong team nonetheless. The thing I'm most curious about this series is, will the Chaos Knight get banned? Because Arpaz One is Legend loves to pick that first, and I rarely see it get banned. And let's move on over to the game. Drafting has just started. And CK first ban. There it is. All right. So Arpaz One is Legend is going to have to find some other floor to for Seal to play. And looking at bans, Arpaz One is Legend bans out Raid King. That's a hero that Ara likes to play. Ban out the Rubik as well. That's one of Staples' heroes. So far, just kind of picking against heroes, like picking out comfort heroes instead of anything meta. We did just have 7.39C patch not too long ago, a couple days ago. And so the meta hasn't quite stabilized just yet. A lot of the strong heroes just got nerfed. So maybe the teams are trying to ban out heroes that are more comfort picks because, not quite sure what the meta heroes are at this point. Clockwork gets banned. That is one of Seal's heroes as well. So really going after Seal, along with the Magnus and Mars ban on the side of Chappy Diaper Squad. CDS. Those would be threes for Dimitri to play. Dimitri is like the main playmaker for our One is Legend, along with Emu. He's very talented in that three role. Likes to play those big playmaking heroes. And Rasta gets picked, first pick. Very strong hero this patch. Did get a pretty significant nerf. I think they reduced his armor by 1. I forgot what else they did with him, but probably still a very strong hero. Like his kit is designed to like solo kill cores, kind of like the Lich of last patch before it got nerfed, if you do go the big snake. And immediate counter pick Undying by Chappy Diaper Squad. Dying is just a very tanky hero, hard for Rasta to just like burst down. Also, if the Rasta is ever shackling someone and the tombstone's on the ground, you can just start curing the zombies on the shaman. The shaman is never happy in that situation. So kind of a natural support counter. It also kind of shows that Chappy Diaper Squad is probably going to be picking more of a lane winning early game team fighting team. Our One Legend bans out the Kunkka and the Drow. So Drow is a really solid pairing with Undying. Complements the hero very well. And Drow is also a hero that Arlo has played in this league. Kunkka, I imagine that's just a meta pick. I know that our One is Legend likes to pick the Kunkka from time to time. CDS has not played Kunkka this league, I believe, just looking at the stats I have. But Kunkka did get nerfed. They reduced the range of his tidal wave last patch. It's still quite a strong hero. And Slaughter banned by Chappy Diaper Squad. So really trying to ban out the hero pool for Dimitri. Axe is still available. I would expect to see probably an Axe, maybe not into an Ursa actually. I'd be looking at more of a maybe like a Razor at this point, or like a Bat Rider 3. Just something to not just sit there and get hit by the Ursa Furious wipes. So yeah, very lane winning early team fighting draft thus far by Chappy Diaper Squad. I'm curious to see how our One is Legend reacts to this. Just checking the stream real quick just to make sure everything looks good on that end. All right. So they go with Venge. This is likely going to be a position 3 Venge played by Dimitri, but it could be flexed into the support role or a position 1. That's the nice thing about Venge. She's like one of 3 heroes, along with like Gyro Marcy, that can be really played in any role. Also Abnon. So picking that really early in the draft gives you options to flex it wherever it's needed. Tusk as well. That could be a 3 Tusk or a mid Tusk. Interesting to see the Tusk there. I don't think our Plasma Legend has played that this league. I would expect that to be a like a pause 5, maybe pair it with like a Lina in lane, position 1 Lina. But really nice save. It's a tanky hero to deal with the Undying, a pretty mobile hero. Not too good at killing the Undying, though. Right now, they don't have any real good way of killing Undying if that's like a core Undying. These 3 heroes don't really do much against that hero. And Dark Willow gets picked up. Some more lane dominators. This support pairing's pretty nasty by Chappy Diaper Squad. Our Plasma is Legend, they want to be aggressive with like the Shaman and Venge, but like if you're going into Terrorize, Brambles, Tombstones, you have to be a little bit more cautious about how you execute fights. But definitely like really solid pick-off potential from our Plasma's Legend right now. I would expect to see, yeah, more like lane dominating early game heroes to kind of complement the draft they're building up. And we see the Dawnbreaker. Dawn gives your team quite a bit of regen and good counter initiation. Silencer is the natural pick. I wouldn't expect to see Silencer get played in the like position 1 role or position. You could see it position 2. It doesn't really feel like it's amazing this draft though. I feel like Chappy Diaper Squad are kind of like building a roll over you kind of squad with this lineup right now. They could probably do with a good initiator on Chappy Diaper Squad, something to like start the fight so you don't have to rely on the Ursa. I guess like Dark Willow and Undying can sort of do it. It's not, those aren't the best heroes for it though. What does our pause one as legend needs? So it's probably a Shadow Shaman Venge Spirit offlane. They could pick the one here. I'm expecting this to be a Tusk 5, but it could be flexed into like 3 or 2 if they need to. It's not really a good like core Tusk game though. I expect this to be more of a save Tusk to try and stop the Ursa, prevent him from hitting turn and raid. You just snowball whatever hero he's jumping on, or just shard him to prevent him from jumping. That's position 1 Weaver. Okay, so Weaver Tusk. So that's an incredibly strong lane. Tusk with that tag team gives bonus damage to attacks, and Weaver with the Geminate gives multiple attacks to really amplify the damage coming out. So this off lane by Chappy Diaper Squad needs to be really careful if this is Tusk Weaver about their positioning. Dark Willow has a pretty nice save with that W. Dawn can get out of shards with her hammer if that is their off lane pairing. And if I were Chappy Diaper Squad, I'm looking at this draft. They have a lot of stun, but not a lot of damage on our Pause One as Legend. I would try to ban out damage dealing mids like a Leshrac, a Queen of Pain especially, because that got played a lot by Emu. Storm Spirit also got played by Emu, but Storm just got banned by our Plasma's Legend, actually. That's a Narathene hero as well. Narathene also plays Lesh, so you might expect to see that get banned. So I'm expecting our Plasma's Legend to pick some kind of damage dealer, and I'm expecting Chappy Diaper Squad to pick some kind of initiator, some kind of initiating one. Storm is good for that. Narathene also plays like Monkey King, Tiny, Primal, Queen of Pain. Those are all good heroes that can fulfill that mid initiator role. The Queen of Pain gets banned. so neither of those mids will be able to play that. Necro Band, that's another hero that Emu likes to play. Not a solid damage dealer. It does do, it kind of forces the Ursa to go, what do you call it, Nullifier, which Ursa doesn't really want to do. And they don't have, like, they have a lot of regen on Chappy Diaper Squad. I'm not sure why they banned the Necro. I don't think Necro was good this game. I think they need some kind of like burst damage to really like kill heroes during the disables on our pause when it's legend. I would probably ban like the Tiny or the Monkey King if I was our pause when it's legend. Just some kind of like initiating frontlining hero. Primal as well. That can, help start fights. Husker gets banned. Again, you have so much disable. I'm not sure if that's necessary to really ban off. There you go, Ember. Okay, so it was to protect the Ember pick. So what do you pick versus Ember Spirit? You probably don't do Tiny. Primal can work. I think this is a pretty solid Monkey game. You pick Monkey King, that gives you decent early game jump in. It gives you a big circle to put on the ground, and thus supports hate Monkey King on our Plasma's Legend. You are doing it into Venge, who can swap you out. And the Tusk can kind of like shard you and prevent you from hitting. But it does give you a nice stun to kill the Weaver. And Monkey can naturally go Orchid. It's not ideal on him, but it gives him attack speed. It's better on like Monkey than versus say like a Primal, which doesn't do as well in lane versus the Ember Spirit. 15 seconds left on the clock. Chappy Diaper Squad picks. They will go Spectre. Okay, so is this a mid Ursa? Narathene, mid Ursa. 1 Spectre. Okay. So they're just trying to throw the Ursa into the Ember Spirit too, unless they're swapping lanes. I'm not too familiar with Chappy Diaper Squad. I'm not sure if they're 1 and 2 swap roles. But Narathene is traditionally the mid laner. And I've seen mid Spectres before. I don't think it's especially good versus the Ember Spirit. I think Ursa does a lot better versus that. Well, I mean, Spectre is a good initiator. You get your 6, you start diving lanes, you have that Dawn follow-up. If the Undying and Dark Willow are around, you just have a lot of stuff to throw on the ground to win team fights. And it gives you late game potential as well. Our Puzzleman's Legend has the Weaver for late game. Spectre is another natural Orchid picker. So I'd expect to see that, even though Weaver will just buy Lincolns versus that. Yeah, it's not so great against the Weaver because the Weaver can just, buy Lincolns, and then Spectre has to use the Ag's Haunt to be able to go on the Weaver ever, unless you have allies break the Lincolns. The Spectre I feel like it slows their game down a little bit, but I'd be curious to see how well it performs. I mean, they have the Rasta, they have the Venge. These are 2 supports that do get just bursted by Spectre if they show on the map. Tusk can potentially save. If the heroes are ever together, like Tusk, Shadow Shaman, Venge are ever together, those supports can work together to try and prevent the Spectre from killing them. But very curious to see how the Spectre performs. I think that's the hero we're going to need to keep an eye on. Anyway, we're going to start off. I'll introduce the heroes as Dire smokes and starts running top. Seal's going to be playing Tusk, Dimitri on the Venge, Drabs on the Shadow Shaman, Granola on the Weaver, and Ember's going to reveal the Dark Willow, who was checking for vision. And he was going to be playing that Ember. On the side of Chappy Diaper Squad, Staples is going to be playing on the Dark Willow, Abravia on the Dawnbreaker, Freeze on the Undying, Arrow a Rokarian arrow on the Spectre, and Narathene on the Ursa. I want to see what heroes go to which lanes before I make lane predictions, but I expect that we're going to see a lot of bloodbath in the laning phase. There's a lot of damage potential. I have a fun little standoff for the Obs. Radiant does manage to kill it, but Ember gets to deny, so no gold there. And it's just going to be a 2 for 2, no first blood before minute 0. And yeah, looks like it's going to be a mid Ursa. Top lane, Staples and Bravia are going to be pairing up versus a 5 Rasta and 1 Weaver. I'm amazed that they didn't put the Tusk here in this lane with the Weaver. That feels like such a massive missed opportunity. This should be a first blood going to Abravia as the Shaman just gets a little bit caught out of position. These two heroes doing a ton of damage. Dawnbreaker especially with that innate getting plus 12 damage because of the startup day. Bottom lane, Tusk, Venge, just gonna run at the Undying and kill him. Wow. Tag team doing a ton of work down there. I guess if you have the attack speed, the base attack time of this Soul Strike Venge, you don't really need the Geminid attack from Weaver. So 1 for 1 to start this first minute off. Be curious to see if this Ursa goes bottle. He does have Battle Fury queued up, so I'm not expecting him to delay that significantly. Let's get last hits up. And quite a few lanes I have to keep paying attention to. Darkwill is going to get caught, but she has the Shadow Realm to just dodge out of that. I definitely got to keep an eye on basically all lanes because potential for dying is very high. Honestly surprised to see Snowball instead of the Shards level 1. I feel like the barrier they provide is gonna do a lot more damage with tag team than the Snowball. Like you could shard him right here and then just be a bunch of free attacks. Dying's going to be gone on with the tag team. I don't think they have enough damage for this. Tag team's going to wear off. I think with shards that would have gotten the kill at 4 seconds of more hits. Would have done a ton more damage, but the Dying's going to get out of there. Mid lane, equal CS for the most part between this Ursa Ember. Ember does have the bottle, so I think Ursa's going to slowly lose the regen game over time, unless he keeps flying out tangos. He has 4 of them still. But yeah, that's Ember probably is favored in that lane over time. Ember can kind of just kite with the shards. Yeah, they're just gonna run at this Undying once again. He saves his Q for when they're together. Try and top up with that strength. Just more right clicks. Tries to run into the little nook there of the trees, but there's no path forward. And Undying will go down. Fees. Yeah, Fees will die once again to this 3 Venge. Weaver has rotated bottom through gate with level 3, has the Swarm Gemini and Sakuchi all together. This is kind of a bad timing though, because the wave is not really in position. Weaver's gonna just go in though. Ooh, misses with the Sakuchi, but they're gonna break all the trees with the Snowball. Get the Spectre, who dies, no TP rotations. They're gonna find a pickup kill on the Tusk. Undying got ignored and yep, just got big as a matter of course. Weaver's just gonna head back top. Go for Lotus. Which amazingly is still there at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Nice rotation by the Weaver. Any cores are suffering. Looks like Granola is kind of suffering the most in terms of CS. Only 10 CS thus far. Spectre almost double with 18. Ursa's getting pretty low mid. Has to be careful. Ember does not have the mana for combo, but if Ember is able to get that level 3 searing chains off, that will be a dead Ursa. Undying's get a TP mid. Kind of feels like a really weird TP. I mean, Ember was diving, but he wasn't really casting any spells. He wasn't really in any danger. So now the Spectre just can't really lane right now with this Undying here. So Undying, you gotta get back to lane. But this Spectre is not gonna be happy with you gone and this camp blocked. Shadow Shaman out of position, gonna get rooted up. Shackles the Willow, but Abriva's gonna cancel the Shackle with the Celestial Hammer. That will be a dead Shadow Shaman. So it feels like top is being won by Radiant, CDS, and the bottom is being won by Pod 1. With this Venge Tusk pairing. It's going to be expected though. Spectre doesn't really... what do you call it? She doesn't really win lanes that way. You just kind of like survive lanes. Like sometimes you can get a good lane. We have a rotation, or not really rotation, but Tusk positioning to do something down here. They're going to be going on the Spectre, who's just completely out of position. Undying drops the Tombstone, and Dire's going to choose to just walk away from it. Kill the zombies. Nice route by the Dark Willow, though. She's going to rotate in. Dimitri walked into a second route, and that's going to be a pickup kill. Getting that killing spree on Staples. They're going to look for more here. Tusk is going to suicide, drop the shards, try and lock him in under tower. Goes for the snowball on the Dark Willow. Actually, it's going to stay alive here. Wisdom is coming up. You have two very low Radiant heroes here who want to contest it. Oh, Tusk just dies. Oh no, no mana for snowball or anything. That level 3 Shadow Realm does so much damage. Roots come up. Dimitri's going to have to dodge the second root to get it. Yep. Darkwill is going to contest, but there's no possibility. Oh, nice rotation by Amber Spirit. It's going to get that big. Ursa's here. Where did the bear come from? The wisdom's already gone. Your allies are dead. You need to back up there, bear. Seems like Ursa's not going to get punished for it. Ember does have a remnant if he wants to play a little aggro. He's going to find an Undying. Yeah, Undying's going to realize that the Dire heroes were chasing and just walks right into them, dies. Now the Ursa gets sharded up. Ember's down here. Roots out, comes out onto the Spectre, who just dies once again. This doesn't feel like a great game for this Spectre. Ursa just has to keep running as all his friends die around him. That was, I feel like that was a huge gold swing right there. It went from like 400 Radiant favored to now like 1k Dire favored. Huge gold swing with that. Ursa playing with no enrage aggressively against this Ember Spirit. Ember's just gonna go in and punish. Like, he has a lot of Fury Swipes. As long as he avoids getting hit, yeah, he's just gonna kill this Ursa Bear. Max Searing Chains against the Ursa. Does wonders. Kind of feels like our Pause 1 Legend is just executing a little bit better here, as they start to take a little bit of an early game advantage. And this Weaver is starting to catch up in CS. Weaver was the lowest, but now Spectre's the lowest. Spectre with only 21 CS at 9 minutes. Good golly. Hate to see that. Mad Dog in chat says the Staples guy is pretty good, huh? Staples is the Darkwill. Yeah, Darkwill is pretty good. Looks like there's a little bit of a scuffle here. Nobody died, though. He's getting away. Very low HP. Seal's going to come over. 2-1-2 build on the Tuskar, looking for more. And Dire are just going to grab the tombstone. Actually, Ursa looks like he was going on the Ember Spirit. He's going to suicide for this. Drops the Enrage. Staying alive for the time being. Gets brought down. Ember dies first, though, so there's the dominating. Going down to Ursa Bear. That's a huge pickup by the Ursa. Absolutely worth dying for that, even if the gold swing favors Dire. Gets him a little bit closer to Battle Fury. Speaking of, I'm not sure Battle Fury is the correct choice this game. You have a Spectre. You kind of need to be making space for the Spectre. I don't know if Dawn Undying Dark Will is really the pairing you can do to make space. I have a swap Snowball on this Undying under tier 1, TP in by the Ursa Bear, but his Undying is, or their Undying is quite dead at that point. And they're just going to keep going. They're going to go on this Ursa, who has 10 seconds left on Enrage. Nice Terrorize by the Dark Will, though, is going to force them away. This Tusk is going to get picked off as a result of that. Not very nice Terrorize by Staples. And they're going to keep going for more. Dawn did Solar Guardian in, looking for this Venge on the back. Ursa getting chained up by Chain Gang. Very good facet by Ember. While this Dawn is chasing the Venge, actually gives vision for the Spectre to get the kill. Weaver is pushing out top. Dark Will is going to go down. Dawn has no mana, but has a Soul Ring and 5 stick. Ember is going to keep going. Ember's slowly running out of mana, though. He's kind of just baiting for his team as the Tusk has appeared, and they will be able to pick off that Dawn. Now the killing spree goes down to Seal. So a lot of like prolonged team fights happening. And it seems like our plus one is Legend is capitalizing after these long team fights. Venge is just bullying the Spectre. Oh no, steals the Lotus, just walking at him. Spectre has to run away. Tragic. Tusk is playing aggro on this Ursa, gets the Walrus punch off, kills the Ursa, will die for it, but that is absolutely worth. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Ursa mid was the pick, and I especially don't know if Battle Fury Ursa was the pick when you need to be making space for the Spectre. Ursa's 1-3-1. And this Ember, you know, with Mage Slayer, I feel like it's going to be making a lot more plays than this Ursa with Battle Fury is. But they could just be delaying for late game, hoping that the fairly lack of push on the side of Dire means that it does go late enough to where the Spectre and Ursa can just start out-carrying this Weaver. Ember is going to be going on Undying, who pops ults. Bear's going to show up. Dark Willow's here. Ember avoids the roots. Rasta shows up with the snake, drops it down, but Solar Guardian's going to keep them topped off. They're going to be able to pick off the Shadow Shaman here. Meanwhile, bottom, they go on the Spectre. Spectre came back in. I'm not sure if you wanted to come back in. You're just going to get exploded by the Vengeance Tusk down there. Staples Science too good. Not sure what that means, but yeah, Spectre probably wanted to stay mid instead of go down there. I'm not sure what the where the Spectre went or if it was dangerous, but it was very deadly to stay down there. Ember, meanwhile, just very farmed at this point, just running at these heroes. It's gonna get rooted up by Dark Will. A lot of damage is being done. He does not have a safe remnant. Gonna go down. Staples gets that pick off. Tuskar now comes in with the Walrus Punch. It's not enough to kill the Ursa, who goes down, but only because of the shackle by Shadow Shaman. And they might be able to find this Shadow Shaman. Zombies keeping up, running him down, providing vision. Yeah, they're going to bring down the Shadow Shaman once again. Double kill for Bravia. Alright. Alright. So CDS is actually starting to pull ahead of it. Like 2,000 gold for that. Kind of taking advantage of the fact that Ember didn't have a safe remnant to go to. And let's go to net worth and see how that's going. Okay, so Dire's cores are all pretty far ahead of the pack. Dawn is really the only farmed hero on the side of Radiant. Has that Blade Mill, Phase Boot, Soul Ring. Tusk and Venge are running bottom. They're going to find the Spectre. Oh no, Tusk with the Blinker Reel. They're just going to explode the Spectre. Kind of a despair game for Spectre. Nowhere to farm on this map. But that does provide space for the Ursa and Dawn to keep hitting creeps top. Ursa is like 1100 gold away from Battle Fury. So at 500 GPM, if he keeps farming, may get it by like before 18 minutes. Dawn's gonna get jumped. Not really anything happening down there though. It seems like Dire are positioning bottom. They seem like they want to be going after this tier 2. They'll drop the snake for it. Is this in range of the tower? It is, okay. Just barely. And that is a ginormous snake with 600 damage. I'm not sure if Radiant can really deal with that. Looks like, yeah, they're just going to try and push out top. But they're going to TP up here on Dire to try and get kills. Dark Willow staples with a nice W, TP out though, and Dawn just kind of kites. They will get the tier 2 for this, a little bit late on the TPs to kill that snake. But they don't get anything top, so big rotations finds nothing. Undying's going to get found and caught by Ember there. Not sure what Undying was doing. There's a 2-stack in the triangle for Radiance. Dire could take it. Couple of whiff spells, missing the Dark Willow. Venge actually gets vision from the high ground here. Swaps the Dark Willow, but they're fighting under tower into a Dawn who just Solar Guardians in. Multiple heroes rooted now. Dawn or Dark Willow does go down, followed by the Undying. Dark Willow's actually going to buy it back, come in. Venge goes down, but Dimitri has that Ags by this point, so it doesn't really mean that much. 4 heroes dead on the side of Radiant, along with that buyback by Dark Willow. As now Ursa's going to get isolated and shackled up by the Rasta. Nice Bramble, though, prevents that, or cancels that shackle. And Ursa's going to be able to pick up the Shadow Shaman, but dies shortly thereafter. Definitely a one fight by Dire there, but how bad was the damage? Yeah, with that buyback, that was about a 2,000 gold swing going the way of Dire. So nice fight there by our Posma's Legend. More chatters. Declamundo. Bye. Walrus Punch finds staples on the Dark Willow. Swap by Venge. Keeps the Tusk alive for the time being. Is actually going to keep the Tusk alive from the nuke by Shadowrun. I feel like the game plan for Radiant, Ursa just got his Battle Fury. So yeah, just before 18 minutes. I feel like the game plan for Radiant is just try and stall long enough for the Spectre and Ursa to come online, but Spectre's so far behind, only 5,600 gold. He's like sorta close to Orchid. Sorta. It's just they have no real ability to fight. Like it's just the Dawn. They don't have any blinks. You know, Ursa has a Phase Boots Battle Fury. Spectre is just now getting that Orchid. Top, Tusk did die, but top they're going to go on the Ursa. Solar Guardian in. Ursa's going to try and turn around and rages to purge off the chains. Drabs is trying to kiting away from the snake. Spectre's going to come in now. They're going to pick off the Shadow Shaman, so far 2 for 0. Favoring Radiant. Dawn's looking pretty big right now as they run through the snake. Ember's doing a lot with the chain gang though. Venge, nice stun, finds the Dawn. That's the first hero to die for Radiant. As Terrorize comes out for the Ember. Dark Willow, ooh, nice swap by Venge. Keeps the Ember alive. Ursa's just going to target this Venge instead. And now the chain gang. Emu chains up the Ursa, chains up the Dark Willow. And bring those heroes down. Ember just staying alive forever. in what looked like a great fight. Ends up with 4 being dead on the side of Chappy Diaper Squad. Just they could not kill the Ember. He just stayed around so long in that fight, dealing 6,000 damage, just more than the rest of his team combined. Unable to bring or lock down this Ember Spirit meant that he was able to win the fight for Dire there. I'm not sure how the Tusk died at the start of that. Trying to see. Staples killed Seal. Okay, so it looks like it was maybe a pickoff by the Dirtbull. They're beginning to set up the contain. They start pushing in 2 lanes as the Spectre just stays top or going through gate to dodge these heroes. Tusk and Venge are back together looking for a pickoff on this Dark Willow. Tusk is going to initiate with the Walrus Punch, but Dark Willow gets off that Shadow Realm really quickly. Nice play. And the Blink Out Staples. Very well done. Top Ursa and Ember are just having fun with each other as the Ursa is forced to back away. Wisdom is up. Tusk is gunning for it. We might have a little bit of a fight here. Radiant can come to this. Let's see, Spectre's going to ult in, they kill Seal, and yeah, Dire just kind of being a little bit overconfident here. They're going to run away, but you gotta be careful of this Ember. Look at that 4-man chain by Ember, just doing so much damage. Meanwhile, Weaver in the bottom lane is pushing towers, so keep that in mind. Masked 4 TVs by Radiant. Oh no, they're going to find the Undying. And they will scare the Weaver away from bottom. Venge keeps going in onto this Ursa. They Yules him up. Venge, nice Glimmer Cape, keeps the Venge alive, but now the Shaman just blinks in, stuns up the Ursa. Dawn tries to hammer, but gets hexed. Oh, don't tell me this guy gets a life. Woo! Alright. Rasta does die at the end of it. Venge will go down. It's very scuffed by Chain Gang. Dawn staying too close to the Remnant. Ember comes back in, I think Ember TP'd out to regen and then just came back in with the Remnant. Meanwhile, on the side, Tusk finds Staples and will bring him down with the Walrus Punch. These are some seriously scuffed fights. Ends up favoring Radiant. Not sure how. I guess because the Spectre didn't die, but Spectre didn't get really anything off of that. The Spectre remains like among the supports in terms of net worth, along with the Ursa. It's really just Dawnbreaker plus all of Dire's cores who are kind of in that core farm bracket. Let's take a quick look at items. Weaver, Wet Maelstrom for the farm, Dragonlance, working towards Manta. Okay, so trying to get that preemptively for the Orchid, which Spectre does have Orchid at this point, so will need some kind of dispel. Ember just Yule's Mage Slayer, pretty modest build, very tanky, relying on those Searing Chains and Chain Gang to be doing a lot of damage in teamfights. Ursa Bear did go Blink Dagger, is going Shard BKB, so very defensive items. Who else is there? Venge. Venge after Ags went Yasha Dragonlance, going Manta as well. Bottom lane Spectre is going to be found by the Ember Spirit, and yeah, she's just going to die. Very sad. Emu Unstoppable streak, 11-14 on this Ember Spirit. Meanwhile, Granola is going to find the Dark Willow and just kill Dark Willow. I'm not sure how that happened. Did you have any disables? Maybe it'll show me. Fight recap. Our Plasma Legend is going to drop the Snake and start pushing. They will swap the Undying into the Snake. Nice coordination there with between the Chain, the Swap, and the Snake to bring down that Undying. Here we go. Yeah, it was just a solo kill. I'm not sure how Weaver was able to solo kill a Dark Willow, but there it is. Snake kind of means that Radiant are unable to fight into this. Ember's gonna go in. They immediately blink on him, but are unable to lock him down. He's just gonna throw out Remnants and try to get more chain gangs off. Swap on the Undying once again. Bring this hero down. Dies with the mech tombstone. Instant buyback by the Undying. But Dire have the racks. They're just leaving at this point. Hello back. Deglamundo. Ember is going to go top, find the Spectre. Ooh, just a little bit slow there. Spectre's going to try and run away. Does Ember guess correctly? No, goes the wrong way. Seems like Dire are positioning for Roshan as they look around for the Spectre. And they will begin to work on that Roshan. Spectre also going Manta, so pretty Manta heavy game this game. A lot of these heroes are heroes that don't want to get orchided or slowed or silenced. So not surprised to see that. Ember opting to go for S and Y though instead. And they'll give the Aegis to Granola on the Weaver. And they begin pushing in the 2 lanes with the racks in it on our Plasma's Legend. And I expect that they're going to start smashing this top tower pretty soon. Not sure what you're supposed to do against the Mass Serpent Ward. So there it is. Once again, swap into the ward. It's followed by the stun. Undying just goes down. That's a dieback from Fees there. And Radiant are going to have to fight without their Undying if they want to. Into Snake. I think that's just a dead Rax at this point. Very difficult to push into this Venge, who has 2 lives, into the Snake, which does 1,000 damage. And into this Ember, who's just chain ganging you the whole time. Ursa's going to blink in, does not get the preemptive enrage off, is going to get very low HP, is forced to just run away, but has the bug on it, means he's just going to die. Meanwhile, in the back, Dark Willow is trying to go on the Tusk. Tusk gets swapped out by Venge, save. Spectre finally comes in with the ult, but her team's all dead. And she will go down. 1 buyback remaining on the side of Chappy Diaper Squad, that Dawn. I expect she's not going to use it until waiting for her team. And in fact, GG is called by Arrow. And game 1 of this best of 3 will go to our Plasma's Legend. As they once again just feels like they just outplay their reading counter. I mean, this game, I feel like Chappy Diaper Squad made a big mistake by picking Ursa, or picking Spectre, and having Ursa go Battle Fury. I feel like you just have no ability to make any kind of space. Like, they did really well in team fights, but it's just these 2 heroes, they don't do anything versus, like, when they're getting kited to hell, like fight an Ember Spirit by a Venge, by a Tusk, right? Like, the Weaver can just run away. Like, it's just so hard for this greedy lineup to work into this kind of, 1 core, get a couple items, and then just smash towers down. Yeah, nice game by Emu and Dimitri, very high kills. Granola did not die. Staples did very well on the Dark Willow. But it just felt like a really horrible game for Spectre Ursa with this kind of draft. Only 328 GPM on the Spectre. Anyway, that was game 1. We will take a short break here as the players ready up game 2. I will be muting myself, but I'll put up the standings so you can keep a look at that. And stay tuned. Testing, testing. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Phase Dota Circuit Season 8, Upper Bracket Finals. Our Pause One is Legend versus Chappy Diaper Squad. Apologies for the delay. One of CDS's heroes was having difficulties downloading a patch that pushed during the internum. And drafting has kicked off. So Chappy Diaper Squad not sure, not being sure. Okay, good. Chappy Diaper Squad not changing up their strategy at all from game one. They ban out the CK and the Clockwork, and they banned out Mag and Mars, but they only get to ban one of those heroes this time. Curious to see which one they choose if they want to stick with their guns. They ban out the Magnus, so Mars is available from last time. And they're going to snap pick the Warlock. Our Pause One is Legend bans out Wraith King, Rubik, which were heroes that they banned before, but they ban out Arasta and Dark Willow this time. So self-denying the Rasta, they probably don't want to play it and don't want CDS to first pick it. So they get rid of it. And Dark Willow was played very well by Staples. Probably the best performing hero on the team in game one. So they'll just get rid of that. And Snap Warlock pick. I mean, it's a fine opener. It gives you good lane presence. It gives you good team fight. It does kind of announce that you're willing to play a little bit of a slower game, more of a counter-initiating game with a Warlock versus something like a Lion or an Undying where it's very aggro with those heroes. Our Puzzle Legend is going to grab Tuskar once again, and there's plenty of ranged pairings that you can draft with that. I suggested Lena last game. They picked Weaver and Venge. Both were very good with the Tusk, with that tag team. Warlock gives you a bit more save versus that. I say save, but you can press W on whoever they go on with the tag team combo and kind of heal them up a little bit while doing some damage. It's not the best in the world. Ideally, you'd want something like a Lich to kind of reduce the damage. And just making sure. But yeah, just a good playmaking hero. It's kind of like a side grade to the Clockwork. You have like saves, you have area denial with the shards. You get that nice BKB piercing stun. And very aggressive hero. You win lane and then you start rotating. So like they have opened themselves up to a lot of potential heroes they can pick. Last time they picked Venge. This time it is banned in the second banning phase, along with Slaughter and Ursa. So our Plasma is Legend not wanting to play against that Ursa again. So they will ban it out. Heroes that Arrow has played are Juggernaut, which is not very good versus Tusk. Weaver gets kind of exploded. Muerta is pretty decent against Tusk if you're able to get your ult off. Our Puzzle Legend goes with Lich. That could be a deny pick because it's pretty good against the Tusk. It hasn't been picked up by CDS as far as I can see by my stats, but definitely a good lane counter to the Tuskar. And that I expect that to be the played by Drabs on that safe lane. So going to the ice themed so far with our Pause One is Legend. Curious to see if they keep up that little theme there. With Warlock, you kind of draft Warlock with a hero that isn't really like expected to get kills in lane or doesn't need to get kills in lane. So like Warlock Juggernaut just kind of means the Juggernaut never dies, but it also doesn't really enable the Juggernaut to get kills, for example, like more than or compared to like a Venomancer Juggernaut or a CM Juggernaut, where you have that slow / disable to keep them within the Blade Fury. Warlock doesn't really like amplify your kill potential. It's more to like prevent your carry from losing lane. So like they could rock the Spectre again this game, for example, and the Warlock would do a much better job at keeping that Spectre alive. I mean, you're still doing it versus a Tuskar, so it's going to be hard if you try and pick that Spectre again. But it gives you a little bit more lane presence with one of those carries. Earthshaker gets picked. Very good team fighting here. This has been played by both Staples and Abravia in those 4 and 3 positions respectively. So it could be flexed either way. Very strong laner if it's played core, very weak laner if it's played support. Big wombo combo team fight happening right now from Chappy Diaper Squad. Between that Echo Slam, the Fatal Bonds, the Warlock ult, and Mars gets picked up. Okay. Okay, that's a lot of team fight on Chappy Diaper Squad. Just a lot of circles going on the ground. You have like Upheaval plus Arena combo. You have Fatal Bonds plus Echo Slam combo. Yeah, this is a very scary team fight team. They're kind of cooldown dependent. So I mean, if they ever whiff their spells on Chappy Diaper Squad, or like don't get a kill or only get one kill, there's gonna be timings where our Plasma's Legend can try and apply pressure because individually these spells are not that strong. Really got to be comboed with each other. Lifestealer gets snap picked after seeing the Mars Earthshaker. Very nice to have that innate BKB effect when you can just run out of the arena, run through the upheaval, not get blown up by the Echo Slam. Also, if you do get blown up by the Echo Slam, you have the option to just infest a target to heal up. And Legion Commander. Legion can purge off offensive W's by Warlock. It's pretty nice because you can just blink ult a target, and if you have ags, you're kind of immune to like the area of effects going on around you. So you're able to just delete one potential source of team fight with the blink duel. Comboed with the Lich, or the Tusk. Tusk is all right with it. It does give you sort of good dual kill. Like ideally, you'd want something with like a big nuke, like a Skywrath, to pair with the Legion Commander to really guarantee that duel. But I think Lich and Tusk are pretty high damage supports. You can absolutely win some duels, early duels with those heroes. So Chappy Diaper Squad likely sees the off lane on the side of our Plasma's Legend. So they're going to pick up the Medusa to try and counter. Interesting to see another late game carry. They're really going like all in on the area of effect spells, like BKB piercing area of effect, massive team fight heroes from Chappy Diaper Squad. This draft screams to me, yeah, we know we're going to lose all our lanes, but it's going to be impossible for you to win team fights against us. But our Plasma's Legend has Lifestealer. Lifestealer doesn't really do anything versus the Medusa, though, because a lot of his damage is percent based, and Medusa doesn't really have that high of an HP pool. And Medusa is a natural Linken's carrier, so you can pick that up versus the Legion Commander. It just feels very defensive. Like Chappy Diaper Squad is a very defensive oriented draft. Like this would be absolute horrible to try and push high ground into. So we see the Anti-Mage get banned. Naturally, you don't want to have that get picked. Like even with the Lifestealer getting picked, I mean, it's such a hard counter versus Medusa, who's going to be the majority of your damage, that you want to get that out of the pool. Our Plasma's Legend gets rid of Sniper, who would make the high ground defense even more cancer. And Sniper has been played by Narathane. Along with Lesh. Lesh can get the shard to have like the repeating Earth spikes or Earth split, whatever it's called. Lesh XQ to help with the defense. So I imagine that's what those picks are for. One, they're played by Narathane. Two, they are pretty good at high ground defense. Also, Lesh gives them a lot of damage, which Chappy Diaper Squad desperately needs damage with this draft. Like, you have the Fatal Bonds, but you can't rely on that for damage. Sometimes the Warlock's not going to be able to get multiple heroes with it. Plus, the Lifestealer has the Purge with his Q. Legion has the Purge with her W to get rid of that Fatal Bonds. So it's not reliable damage from the Warlock. So Ember stays in the pool. They don't have amazing lockdown for the Ember. It's like Mars Spear and Earthshaker Visor. They're gonna pick up the Brewmaster. So more and more team fight. This is insane how much emphasis they put on team fight on Chappy Diaper Squad. Like, Brewmaster can win lanes. It's like the one good lane winner that they have. And like Medusa can try and push out heroes. Like she does a good job versus the Tusk. If it's gonna be a never offlane Tusk. She can just spam snakes. She's a naturally high armor hero, so that really blunts a lot of the damage from tag team. But I just feel like Chappy Diaper Squad. Like, all right, so the good news is Chappy Diaper Squad doesn't have like a two hard carry problem, right? No, like they don't have an Ursa spec to this game. They have one hard carry, the Medusa, and they have a fuck ton of team fight. Mars, Brew, Earthshaker, Warlock. These are all heroes that just crush team fights. Our plus one is Legend, very much a pick-off oriented draft. Legion wants to pick up heroes. Storm wants to pick up heroes. Tusk and Lich very good at picking up heroes. Team fight's just really lacking on our plus one is Legend. Eventually, you're going to get an Axe on Storm to give you some kind of like AoE presence. A Legion does okay in a team fight with the Q, but she's really going to be like just picking off heroes with that duel, which is decent team fight. If you have like these heroes jumping in with like Mars, Earthshaker, Brew, you have the Chain Blast, Chain Frost. Although it doesn't really do that much versus Brew. And Tusk obviously loves getting pickoffs. So staples on the Brews. So is that a support Brew? Narathine Earthshaker. And Erosian Medusa. So if they stick to their traditional lanes, this is going to be a support Brewmaster, mid Earthshaker, and pause one Medusa. So this is going to be a core Earthshaker. Okay, that does a lot more damage than a support Earthshaker. So okay, with this being a core Earthshaker, I feel like Chappy Diaper Squad has pretty good damage. Overall thoughts, I think it just depends on execution. Like, if you're R Poslimus Legend, you never want to take a 5v5 until you get like lots of items on the Legion Lifestealer. And if you're CDS, you're trying to bait those 5v5s. You're going to be trying to play together this game because if you're ever alone, the Storm, the Legion, the Tusk, they're all going to blow you up. And does my camera work? Camera works. All right. And this is going to be the start of game 2. Our pause one is Legend Vert on Radiant versus Chappy Daycare or Day Squad. Chappy Diaper Squad. Mixing up the teams in PDC. Apologies. Chappy Diaper Squad on Dire. Radiant is going to be smoking up and running top. Trying to find some kind of early pickoff potential. Meanwhile, Brew is just going to run in unsmoked mid. Drop that ward down. Pretty sure he did that under vision. So likely going to see this ward get dewarded if Brew was under vision there. Multiple wards by Radiant under mid. They really want to try and get some kind of a first blood pair. But Dire's just hanging out under their tower. Deuce is not the greatest level 1 fighter. Interesting build by Dusa. Very interesting. Yeah, Brew, Warlock, and Warlock is decent level 1 fighter with the Fatal Bonds. That is if you have like AoE damage. but you're really only your AoE damage is the snakes. I guess Earthshaker could go Fissure level 1, but that kind of trolls his own lane if he does that. So Dire not in the mood to contest. And looks like we're going to have another bloodless minute 0. Bounties are so far 2 for 1. There is 1 remaining. Mars is pinged to the fact, and Mars will run down and secure that last bounty run. Ends up being 2 for 2 bounty runs. All right, so looking at the pairings, as we're gonna have a little bit of a scuffle down here. Mars is going to, this is a support Mars. Position 5 Mars, what the hell is this? All right. Yeah, so Mars, everything on the 3. Okay, so I didn't look at the lands correctly. Core Brewmaster. Okay, so CDS absolutely is has rotated all the roles this game. Let's get those last hits up. Brewmaster Storm. Brewmaster can dodge a lot of right clicks from Storm with Drunken Brawler. But I feel like Storm wins this. Storm just kind of naturally... What is this play by Brew? Brew's just going to die. Emu picking up the first blood there. As I'm not sure if Staples traditionally does mid, but not respecting the Storm's damage output there. Level 2 Storm does a lot of damage between the Overload and the Static Remnant. We'll TP back in. That's going to get a early bottle for Storm there. But yeah, Brewmaster, I don't think wins this lane, playing very aggressively. Anyway, so expect Storm to win that lane. Top lane, are they still fighting? What's going on here? Yeah, Storm is, if this Remnant gets off, yeah, just never dead by Brewmaster. Kind of a disaster start. Storm is getting amazing start here. 2 dead Brewmasters there. Where's the, where's my net worth? Whoops. Yeah, just Storm well and ahead there. Alright, other lanes. Off lane, we have Tusk Legion. Tusk getting Ice Shards level 2 correctly this time. Nice tag team, tons of damage on the Warlock. Legion had to back off early though because of the Shackle, or the Gorgon's Grasp by Medusa. Ends up being a low Warlock, but not a dead Warlock. Legion, in fact, getting pretty low here. Medusa does a lot of damage versus melee heroes in lane. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, what the... The spear doesn't go into Fissure? Maybe the Lich was just not positioned correctly? That was weird looking. Huh. Anyway, support Mars, 3 Earthshaker. Does a lot of damage. I feel like Lich does pretty good versus melee heroes, though. You kind of just do the Frost Shield on whatever they go on. It slows them, damages them. They have a hard time doing anything. Dimitri getting very low top. As this Deuce is spending a lot of mana to guarantee that... they're not having a fun time. Brew also getting pretty low mid. Goes back to lane. Storm has a 1 stick. Not enough mana for the Static Remnant. Has that charge though. Uses it on the wave. Meanwhile, top Legion does die, but the Medusa gets very low. Tusk will be able to secure that kill and has no spells to kill this Warlock. We'll try and run him down. Actually just leveled up, gets the snowball, dives in, gets that nice double kill on Seal. So favorable trade for Radiant up there. As Brew and Storm very low, looking at each other in lane. I think that Radiant is favored for, Lifestealer going into dual melee. Lich as well, just kind of shreds these 2 heroes. I don't expect this lane to go very well for Dire. Storm doing very well in this lane. Top, we have another dive onto this Medusa who just TP'd in. This would be absolute disaster if the Medusa got down, but they just get to burn all of her mana instead. She will clarity up. And just back off. Storm is level 6, just got 6 versus this Brew who's level 4. I feel like Storm can kill this Brew pretty easily. But Storm is just playing the lane, you know, probably respecting the fact that there are TPs on the side of Radiant. Not taking advantage of the level 6 timing there. I'm not a Storm player, but I'm pretty sure Storm could kill the Brewmaster right here with just a dive in. Might die for it though on the if there is a TP in. Lich getting very low bottom will be run down by Mars. Long range right click will secure that hero, leaving the Lifestealer to fend for himself. Meanwhile, top, Seal gets a kill on Warlock. That guy exploded very quickly between a tag team and Legion Commander. I really gotta... There's so many melee heroes in this game, it's hard to tell whether they're actually fighting or just laning. Mid, Brewmaster getting very low. Storm will ult in. Right click, has no mana for Q. Brewmaster is sticking with the Fire Brawler. I feel like you want to be on the evasion there when you're under tower. Try and rely on the evasion to keep you alive. Anyway, Lich is going to be found again. I think Mars learned that the spear doesn't work on the fissure. So we'll wait for a tree to line up before going in. They're going to keep diving. Deuce getting very low. Top will go down as well. Gonna go back here. Looks like Lich did die. So lots of heroes dying early on. And Tusk is going to find this Warlock. Tusk has tag team available. Is just waiting for his Legion to get in range for the right click. Little tag team. Lets his Legion get the kill. More pickoffs. Early game favoring Radiant. They're up 2,000 gold. Once again, all their cores are leading the pack. Mid, Storm goes in on level 5 Brewmaster. Brew is just going to flicker through all the different options. Ends up settling on Earth Brawler, but that was funny to look at. Meanwhile, top, they dive top and on Radiant and get that Deusa kill. Not looking good for Chappy Diaper Squad fans. As the early game is not going so hot. I mean, this is kind of like what you expected, right? Like, you have a position for Mars. You have a, you know, a mid Brewmaster versus Storm, and the Brewmaster doesn't really seem that comfortable versus, like, in this mid matchup. Like you kind of expect to lose all lanes. Like, the only lane you expect not to lose is maybe Medusa, but even then, you're going into, like, Legion Tusk, which is really brutal. So... like, they have to really rely on the team fight aspect of their draft to carry them through. Brew is just getting bullied by Storm, tons of damage. Storm really wants this kill, but is forced to back up as there was a TP. TP is actually canceled. Legion now just running at this Deucer, right-clicking her, has the duel, but waiting for Deucer to burn mana. And she'll be forced to back. Meanwhile... Warlock gets found by the Tusk. These just level advantages on these Radiant heroes are enabling them to do so much damage. Level 6 Tusk versus level 4 Warlock. Like, even the offlane for Dire is so low level compared to... like, if we look at just levels here, you can kind of see just like only one hero is level 6 on the side of Dire now. Gonna be a bit of a scuffle bottom. Lifestealer wants to go on the Mars. Tusk comes in, snowballs onto the Mars. Fissure does not block. Tusk will be able to keep hitting, applying that tag team debuff, and getting a Lifestealer at that kill. Brewmaster comes in, ults up. Lifestealer is just gonna run over to a creep though, take over and run away. Brewmaster trying to find something here, but he has no allies. Like the, you know, Lifestealer is still around. Earthshaker's nearby, but has no Echo Slam. And Brewmaster is just going to pop out of ult. Storm TP's in, gets that kill. Storm looks for Morph, goes on the Earthshaker. Still has enough mana for a couple more spells. Will blow him up. Emu with that, a wicked 6 streak. Nice rotation by Radiant. Brewmaster just staying a little bit too long under tower. Trying to like force something. I know that feeling when you're like so far behind. You really want to try and force something to... you know, get back into game. But at this point, Radiant is 6,000 net worth ahead. at like before 10 minutes. And your team was dead, your team is low level, they just can't really play with you at this point. You really just gotta sit in waves and soak those sixes. You still have all your towers on Dire. You don't have to be trying to force these fights. Earthshaker, one creep away from 6, gets 6, levels it up, but it's versus a lifestealer. Has that rage, can just pop it and reduce a lot of that damage. Echo comes out in rage. Oh no, where's the right click? Fissure. Oh, the double kill! Meanwhile, mid, Storm kills the Brewmaster, but sick Echo Fissure by Earthshaker, waiting for the Enrage to expire and popping him with that level 3 Fissure. Very unusual build. You don't usually see this on a core Earthshaker. Normally you see max enchant totem, maybe like 1 level of Fissure, but max level Fissure for that damage is able to secure those kills. Very nicely done. Nice chunk of change right there. Brings them a little bit back into it. Legion wants this duel, kills the tower, so there won't be any kind of TP support. Tusk is here, has tag team. Should be a very easy duel victory. Just so much damage to that level 3 tag team, plus 75 damage. Basically a double damage for both heroes. Unstoppable streak on Emu. As Dire are congregating mid, they want to force a fight with these team fight ults, and now Radiant has to be a little bit scared because Dire has all these team fight. Buddy, what's this fissure block gonna do? It's a Storm Spirit. Dire has all these team fights abilities, and they really want to like force a 5v5, and so Radiant's best interest is just keep split pushing. Just push all these waves, keep showing in all lanes, push lanes out. Like Storm's just trying to like keep these heroes here so they're, you know, tied down, but you don't actually want to be fighting at as Radiant as this point because Dire has all their 6s now. Storm is going to go in on the Earthshaker, hard committing. Fissure's doing a lot of damage, followed by the Warlock ult, but Seal's gonna dodge it on the Snowball. Oh no, the Golem keeps the Chain Frost moving. That's gonna end up killing the Earthshaker. Very sad. Nice pick off by Drabs on that Earthshaker, securing that kill when his Storm could not. Storm's just gonna TP top with Invis, looking for this Brewmaster. Brewmaster's gonna see Legion, but he's not gonna realize that he's in danger here. Brew does have the ults, so they're gonna time their stuns and bring the Brew down. Nice pick off there, timing those stuns to prevent the... Dude, can you chill? I'm trying to have fun. Maybe in the regular season, but this is the playoffs. I think people started playing a little more seriously in the playoffs. Lifestealer's gonna pop Rage off early. This Mars is going to have ults. Lifestealer's gonna be able to infest a creep. TPs are coming in, Lich will be coming in, but no Chain Frost and very little mana. Tusk is actually here too, though, and now it's Dire in trouble here as Lifestealer's gonna turn around with the tag team and just do tons of damage. This Tusk hero seems really strong with that tag team. Holy moly, just applying so much damage. Potentially a misban by Dire. They're gonna find a Brewmaster. Brewmaster does have ult. Fear comes off. Brew is just waiting forever. It finally pops it off. Tusk has no snowball. Void Panda will pull him back. Has the Frost armor to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Brew seems like he's waiting for allies to come, but kind of lacking the damage. And at the instant that Brew comes out of that ulti, just explodes with the Chain Frost and that Mars being next to him. Blink Earthshaker, but immediate counter blink by Legion Commander prevents any kind of kill potential. Grabs on the killing spree, the double kills. So many killing sprees on the side of Radiant. Dusa is hard farming. This is Dire's win condition if the Dusa can farm up enough. GG is called. Wow. All right. So that was a 14-minute game. Dire does not want to play out the game. Does not want to kind of suffer and likely lose. Like they have a chance of Medusa getting enough gold, but I mean, when you're that far down versus the best team in the league, and you don't really have the heroes to enable team fighting, they just opt to drop out and end the night early. So a nice showing by our pause won his legend. Emu once again, very nice high kill game. Basically everybody on our pause won his legend did very well. I'm very curious to know if Staples is a natural mid. Why they put Staples in the mid? It just didn't feel like Staples played that matchup correctly. Nothing against Staples, but it just you're going as Brute into Storm. You're more so trying to get XP and get your 6, I feel, than try and bully the Storm from lane. Because if you try and bully the Storm from lane, you're just going to take a lot of damage. And staying on the fire versus like I forget which one it is, but you have like a magic resist passive and an evasion passive. I feel like those are going to be way better for you than the innate crit when you're trying to out right click a hero. I don't know. It just felt like this is a very defensive draft. Like they're drafting to get rolled over and try and go high ground, but they got rolled over so hard that like there's no way they have enough damage to do anything. Like the only possibility of them winning this game is if Radiant start pushing high ground early into like Echo Slam plus Fatal Bonds. But our plus one Zajin is good enough to where they're not going to make that mistake. They haven't really made that mistake all season. So Chappy Diaper Squad, GG's out early. 2-0 our pause when his legend. They will continue into the upper brackets. Let me pull up the bracket for you if we look at this real quick. TZ's team, our pause when his legend, is going to play the winner of Hejet Pair and Timbercon, which those are No Immortals and Jason Voss Foundation picks for the Cure. So our Possible Judgment will be playing one of those teams, whoever the winner of that one is. And Archon, I'm not sure how to read this bracket, but they will probably be playing one of the worst teams, I think, or whenever team that drops low. Anyway, I've been Munchla. Thank you all for watching. Nice quick series. And hope to catch you all next time.